Who is the current rookie of the year? CJ Stroud still is ahead in the odds-on favorites to win it. Gibbs is actually in second right now with Puka Nacua at third. In my opinion, I think that Stroud is potentially being passed unless the Houston Texans, who they have a shot, win their division. I think that you give this fucking award to Puka Nacua.
Yes. No doubt about it. CJ Stroud is same thing for MVP. When Tyreek Hill got his injury, he's out of it. When you're missing games, you can't do it. Puka Nacua is the offensive player of the year, rookie of the year, right there. He is a badass player, and he came out of nowhere. Like, that's it. That's the rookie right there. That's their offensive rookie of the year, and I don't think there's any doubt about it.
He's going to break the single-season receiving yard record most likely by a rookie ever. And the big one to me, especially on a team where you play with Cooper Kupp, and you had to fill those shoes of Cooper Kupp for a percentage of the season, that the Rams went on a run, and actually that run is the reason why they are in position to make the playoffs right now. But the more impressive record to me he's going to break is he's going to break the reception record. He's going to have 105, 110 receptions this year, maybe more. He's at 96 right now.
Yeah. He's gonna have more. He's gonna break the rookie record. I think the rookie record is Anquan Bolden's.
Jalen Waddle had him. Jalen Waddle 104, I think, is the record by one on Bolden.
I didn't know that. Good for Jalen Waddle. I do kind of remember that. Wasn't that the dump down season a few years ago?
Right before they got Tyreek.
Yeah.
If Tua held the ball for like 3 seconds, he's done for the season, like every single time.
I'm going to say that if the season ended right now, it would be Nacua. But there's 2 weeks left for CJ Stroud to win this division. And he doesn't even need to win the division. If he gets them in the playoffs and they end up 10-7 or something, I don't know what I think they're 8-7 right now.
They get 10-7.
If they finish 10-7 and they get a playoff spot, he's rookie of the year. Like, because that's not it. But if he doesn't finish the year strong and they finish 8-9, it's a great story. But the Rams make it in, and Puka Nacua is shattering the records of either future Hall of Famers or past Hall of Famers or whatever. That to me is it, because a lot of times too, wide receivers, you see somebody like Jamar Chase, where I don't think they're necessarily instrumental in a lot of other stuff. Like Puka Nacua is part of the run game. Like and I know that voters won't factor that in, but if you like watching football, like, and you go see some of the designs where he has to be involved in springing big runs, like Nacua is a football player, and I would vote him if it ended today. And whichever one of these teams make the playoffs, that's who I'd give the award to. If they both make it, I would give it to the quarterback.
Let me throw this at you, Tony. CJ Stroud comes back, does good in the next 2 weeks. Houston wins it. Just plays average, plays like he's doing right now, wins the division, they're going to the playoffs, right? Puka Nacua has a 100-yard game this week, and then in week 18 against the Niners, he has the game-winning touchdown to beat the Niners and make the Niners lose home field advantage. And the Rams are going to the playoffs. Now which one?
I'm still going to lean with the Texans, because to overcome and be a playoff team, like that to me it's tougher, because the Rams will get in with 9 wins or whatever. The Texans are going to have to win 10 games. He's going to have been the winner of 9 of those 10 games, like outside of the one Case Keenum miracle. Like, he's going to have been the catalyst for a higher hurdle. I think the one thing that's going to hurt Stroud is the injury isn't going to allow him to break some of Herb's records from a few years ago. Like those 2 games off, I think really hurt him in putting up the touchdown and yards numbers to pass from Herbert's rookie year. I think. I don't know. I haven't checked in on a while.
He's not reaching it. There's no way.
But Mike needs that, because that's the only argument Mike has about Herbert is the rookie year. So
and the 5,040 touchdown sophomore year as well, and the freaking 4,530 touchdown year last year, and this year he had a great year as well, even in his worst season. But anyways, we're not talking about Justin Herbert, even though this is very similar. Remember, the year that Justin Herbert won that Rookie of the Year award, there was another receiver breaking records, and they went with the quarterback over the receiver, Justin Jefferson.
It's always
Almost same scenario. But what separates in this situation is like you're saying, Tony. CJ Stroud right now sits at 20 passing touchdowns, 11 shy of Herbert's record. I think he sits at around 3,600 or 3,800 passing yards, still 600, 700 shy, which I'm not going to rule out that he has 700 yards in 2 games with some of the games he's had this year, but it's not very likely that he's actually shattering those records. And that to me is why we got to put Puka in, because Puka is going to be at the top of these lists in multiple categories now, and you got to do it. But that is what hurts the receiver so much, is that is the one thing that Puka's not doing. He's not scoring touchdowns. I think he only has 5 touchdowns this year, and CJ Stroud's going to finish with around 25 probably. And I know it's quarterback to receiver. But that's what the voters are looking at. Like, who made the bigger impact? Who scored more points? I think it should be Puka Nacua. As long as the Rams don't choke this away and completely miss the playoffs because of what a key piece he was in literally saving the Rams season. I thought the Rams may be on the clock first this year, or on the clock third. That's how low I was on them. And here they are, a sneaky team heading into the NFC bracket. Tony, or Joe, actually, I'll let you go first on this, Joe, because I know you love talking about these 49ers. Did Brock Purdy just fall out of the MVP race completely?
First of all, Brock Purdy should have never fucking been in that conversation. He should have been out of it. And I've been telling people for weeks, Brock Purdy is not even the best player on his team. He's probably not even top 3 on his team. And you gotta put him in there. And you're like, Brock Purdy's gonna be the MVP. Brock Purdy's gonna be the MVP. How? I thought maybe he was trying to help out Trent Williams in the last game, and Trent Williams getting the MVP award by allowing him to get more tackles. You know, he got like 3 or 4 tackles on interceptions in that game, so that kind of helped him out. But it showed CMC. I don't care what you say about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson didn't win that game against. He did a great job against the 49ers, but who won that game? The defense won that game. The defense is for the has been great for the Ravens, and I've said it for years, Tony, since Lamar Jackson's been there. When the Ravens defense is going, the Ravens are going. And we saw when a lot of the players got hurt last year for the Ravens started to fall off on that defense. So the Ravens defense is there. But I still think the MVP is coming out of San Francisco, and I think it has to be Christian McCaffrey. You've seen what Christian McCaffrey does when he's on that field and what the big difference he is. And he's been the MVP of the league for many years, even when he was on a crappy Carolina team. Christian McCaffrey is a game changer and an elite talent that we're not going to get a lot, but it's always a quarterback award. So they're always trying to push it to a quarterback. And Barry Sanders, I don't know if you guys saw that Barry Sanders came out earlier and he goes, yeah, CMC should win it too. Barry Sanders, the great Lions running back, is backing CMC, but he goes, hey, even when I had my great year in 1999, they made me co-MVP with Brett Favre. He goes, so I can see Christian McCaffrey winning it as a co-MVP with another quarterback. So maybe Christian McCaffrey gets some BS like that too.
And well, when I first saw that, Joe, the Barry Sanders quote, I was thinking like, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. Lamar Jackson, CMC, co-MVPs. That's dope.
So when that happened too, Favre had already won back-to-back MVPs. He was the biggest player on the planet, right? Like that was a different circumstance. Lamar Jackson is not at Favre's like legend status level. Like that was more of like, hey, Favre had another really, really good season. And Barry Sanders also just rushed for 2,000 yards in 14 games, essentially. That season, he started off the first 2 games, had 53 yards. And then in the final 14 games of the year, rushed for 2,000 yards. Nobody had done that since like O.J. Simpson had like a 2,000-yard season in 14 games. Like I'm getting sidetracked here. Nobody wants to talk about old school football with me. But in current football right now, Mike and I did a video earlier this year talking MVPs in like week 7 or 8. CMC was at the top of my board. He has never left. It's never been there. I'm not here to disparage Brock Purdy because I do think he is a top 12 quarterback, right? Like right now in the way things are set up, there are some limitations, but we have to remember like there are only ever going to be a handful of guys that we should expect when things are shitty and things aren't perfect, that they're going to go and do it. Otherwise, everybody would have that quarterback. It wouldn't make Patrick Mahomes special or Josh Allen special or Jalen Hurts sometimes when things and shit is down there or Herbert in situations where there's no receivers out there. Like if those situations, if everybody was elevating their play in catastrophic circumstances, it wouldn't make it special for that to happen. So like Brock Purdy's in a great situation. I think he's a very good quarterback, and I am over talking about game manager versus this and that and whatever else. Like he's very good. But if we're talking about who the difference makers are in that game, it is Lamar Jackson and Christian McCaffrey. Like I disagree a little bit with what Joe said about the Ravens defense. I do think obviously you need to have a good defense to get things going. But like even when the defenses were getting injured and beat up or whatever, and Lamar Jackson was still on the field, like they were still finding ways to win games. The one thing that drives me nuts about Lamar Jackson is sometimes he just gets careless with the football. He just starts running around and carrying it out here for no reason. Like it, when he's determined and his head is down and it's just like, I'm crushing everybody, he's unstoppable. Like the Ravens should be on a path to go to the Super Bowl. They should take care of business against the Dolphins this weekend. They should be sitting people over the next couple of weeks, and they should be playing in Las Vegas in February.
And Lamar's having the best year of his career, in my opinion, without as a passer, without Mark Andrews. So that just shows how much hard work he put in this year, even though he was arguing for money and battling for contracts. And you guys know what a big Lamar Jackson fan I am. He is now the odds-on favorite to win his second MVP award. But I think we have a unanimous sweep here. I also would give this thing to CMC. I had an argument with my uncle about this, like just recently, because he's a big Brock Purdy fan. He's a 49er fan. He was saying that running backs don't win the award. And I told him, like, there's a number that running backs hit where they won the award. That's 25 touchdowns. And he's hit that. Danny Tomlinson. Who else? Who's before the league? Sean Alexander, Adrian Peterson. And there was even someone else in that little era. Terrell Davis won MVP, I think.
He didn't win regular season MVP, no.
Maybe as a runner-up or something. But yeah, it seems like the mark where a running back goes from he's just the running back, not going to win MVP, even though he had a great season, to you're the MVP. It seems like it's 25 touchdowns, and CMC's broken that. You know the yardage is there. You don't got to argue about that and the receptions and all that and the averages. So and he's carrying maybe the best team in football. I mean, the second best team in football. Second best team in football.
Hang on. I think maybe, can somebody look that up? I think Terrell Davis may have won an MVP.
I know the Chiefs running back did. What was his name again?
Terrell Davis, Barry Sanders, Terrell Davis.
Yeah.
Marshall Faulk.
There we go.
Sean Alexander and Adrian Peterson. LaDainian Tomlinson, too, you guys said. So those are your running backs right there.
The Priest Holmes never won one.
And Thurman Thomas. But the name this is what's pissing me off. This is why sometimes I don't listen to watch ESPN and some of these bullshit thing. The name that keeps getting thrown out there, and even fucking Aaron Rodgers threw it out there on Pat McAfee the other day. Josh Allen. He said Josh Allen is the MVP of the league right now. I don't think you can be the MVP and throw 15 interceptions. And I understand it, but a lot of people are looking at the touchdowns. Oh, he has 27 touchdowns. You're looking at touchdowns. And maybe that's what's going to hurt Lamar overall, is he only has 19 touchdowns throwing. But I don't think people fear Josh Allen. Like, I think they know they have to go in there and make Josh Allen make the mistakes. But I think you fear Lamar Jackson. I think you fear Christian McCaffrey, and those are the two guys that you're looking to stop. And I think when you're looking at the MVP award, you're looking at somebody, if you take away from their team, and I'm not going to say that if you take Josh Allen away from the Buffalo Bills, they're not good, but I think you could put somebody else up there that could throw, that can game. If you put a game manager up there, I think Buffalo is still hanging out around in that division.
And you include fumbles, his turnover total goes over 20.
I hope you never look at Favre's interception totals from his MVP seasons.
Raiders.